Okay, so now we're going to talk about how to decide what kind of business you want to go into. And when I say what kind of business, what I mean is, do you want to own a coding school for kids? Do you want to own a Motel 6? Do you want to start a daycare? Do you want to start a dry cleaning business? Do you want to start a consulting business? That's what I mean by what kind of business do you want to go into. So I'll dive into this really quickly. The very first thing you want to think about is what are you passionate about? It all boils down to you. What do you want? What are you passionate about? What are you crazy about? So, like I said in the earlier video, I am very passionate about making an impact. I am very passionate about impacting the next generation. I do believe, I know it sounds cheesy, but I do believe that the next Steve Jobs or Bill Gates of their generation would have passed through a CodeWiz in one form or the other, either as a coach or as a student, but they would have passed through a CodeWiz, and that is something that motivates me. That is my passion. And so you need to ask yourself, what is your passion? What are you passionate about? What keeps you, what are you always thinking about? What gets you excited? What makes you happy? Now, this would help to guide what you need to do. So for example, when I was thinking about starting my own business, I did look into franchising, and one of the options that was available to me was a 7-Eleven franchise. And it's great, but I just couldn't see myself doing that every day. And I just wasn't excited about it. Like the thought of it just didn't make me feel, oh my gosh. So you really want to have that, oh my gosh. I don't know why my voice is deep there, but yeah. Basically, you really want to think about what you're passionate about and just eliminate the options that you're not passionate about. If you don't enjoy talking to people every day, do not go into a consulting business. All right, like if you do not enjoy that, just don't do it. Again, it really boils down to what you're passionate about. Then you want to look into current trends. What are the current trends? Not that you should always go after the most trendy business, but you certainly want to make sure that the business is not on its way out. For example, this would not be the time to go invest in a blockbuster type business. This would not be the time to go invest in a business where you're selling physical DVDs, right? Because that technology is phasing out, right? People are moving on and are doing other things. So you definitely want to make sure that whatever it is that you're investing in or starting is, I don't want to say hot and trendy, but it's at least going to be here for the next 10 years. You want to make sure that this is a service that people will need for the next 10 years. Thirdly, you want to assess yourself. Again, it really boils down to you. So you want to assess yourself, your skills and abilities. I always tell people that self-awareness is a superpower. You need to be self-aware. You need to know what you're good at and what you suck at. There's no way that all of us are good at everything. There are some things that we really stink at, and there are some things that we are really, really, really good at. So you need to determine what is it that you are good at and what is it that you're not good at. For me, I stink at spreadsheets. Do not give me a spreadsheet. I will do it if I have to do it. I'll do projections if I have to, but it's certainly not my most favorite thing to do. And so for me, going into starting a bookkeeping business would be disastrous because that is not something that I'm passionate about. That's not something that I'm excited about. For me, what excites me, and I'm just using myself as an example so you can understand a real world scenario, what really excites me is doing goofy stuff. And so I love CodeWiz because I get to be goofy, right? Like I can be silly and nobody's gonna be like, why is she silly? I work with kids. It's okay to be silly when you work with kids. And I also love thinking about marketing, like innovative ways that we can market and talk to people and get people to try our products. And that's something that, at least at Codeways, that we have to do a lot. And so that makes me happy, that excites me, and that is a skill and a strength that I have. And then I just outsource all the bookkeeping and all the detailed work to other people, because that I stink at that. I really do. It's really bad. Okay. So yeah, skills and abilities. Do you enjoy sales and marketing, or do you prefer the back end type of operations? You really need to ask yourself that question. If you're somebody that don't like talking to people, again, you don't want to go into a consulting job, because you're going to be talking to people a lot. All right. So how much money do you have to invest, and how much money are you willing to invest? So if you have say $100,000 in loans, whichever way you decide to fund your business, and you have $100,000, then you might as well just forget about dreams of buying into a McDonald's franchise or starting your own burger or fast food company, because it takes a whole lot more than $100,000 to do that. So you need to, in Africa, they would say you need to cut your cloth according to your size. So you need to choose a business that you can actually afford, if that makes sense. All right. And then another thing you need to think about is, how much income do you need? Different businesses provide a variety, different types of income at the end of the day, and it really depends on what your goal is. So if you are someone who is trying to replace, say, a 7-figure income, the education business is probably not where you want to be, right? Like if you are looking to earn like $1 million every year, then you probably don't want to start a Codeways. You probably don't want to start a daycare, because those type of businesses are just not, they just don't generate that much of a bottom line. Like they don't generate 7 figures type bottom line, unless you're like, unless you own like a chain, or unless you are what we call a multi-unit franchisee, or, you know, when I say chain, I mean, unless you start, like you start your own business and you have 10 of them or 50 of them, then you can say, okay, fine. You could become like a multi-millionaire on an education-based concept. But if you're just having like the 1 or the 2, then certainly those types of businesses are not the businesses for you. So maybe you want to look into like a hotel. You know, those type of businesses could potentially give you $7 million bottom lines. Okay, 2 more things and we'll be done with this. So how involved do you want to be in the business? Do you want to be a passive owner? Do you want to just put the money in, hire a manager and walk away? Do you want to be involved in the day-to-day of the business? So again, I use Codeways as examples because that's what I know. So for Codeways, we really want people that really want to be involved in the business. We don't want people, it doesn't work for us to have people that just put in money and walk away. That's our business model, just doesn't work that way. So if you are looking for a business where you just put in money, like this will not be the right one for you. But then potentially something like an Orange Theory could work, because you could easily hire a manager to just run the day-to-day at an Orange Theory and you never have to be there. Something like a massage parlor would be fine. A waxing salon would be fine. You can do all of those things passively and just hire someone to run it for you. I do believe though that businesses are best served when the owner is full-time, especially if it's a new business. If you are starting up your own business, you definitely want to do that full-time and you want to be there 100% of the time. If you're investing into a franchise that's very established, you know, like I said, like an Orange Theory or Elements Massage, that's something that yes, you can definitely hire someone for. But if you are looking into an emerging concept, you certainly want to be hands-on. You're more likely to start to receive a return on your money if you are hands-on. And then the very last thing that you need to consider is, what is your biggest ROI? Do you measure your return on ROI is return on investment? So what do you get back after investing all this money? What is the most important thing to you? For some people, it is time. I don't care how much I invest as long as I'm able to get, $25,000 every year and I'm able to travel to Bali, to Costa Rica, to Africa, and all of that. I don't really care about the money. I just want some money to be able to fund my travels. If that's your ROI, then you need to think about a business that will let you do that. If your biggest ROI is, time with your kids, you want to be able to spend so much time with your kids, then you certainly don't want to jump into a business that's going to require you to be working 100-hour weeks. Every business does require a lot of work in the beginning, but you want to see that the time that you're spending in your business scale back. If time is something that you're really doing this for. And then impact. Some people just really want to go into business for impact and for legacy. Like I tell my daughter that I want to have 1,000 code whizzes over the next 10 years so that she can say, my mom built that. So for me, money is not a huge motivator for me. It's really all about impact, legacy, flexibility, and desire to be my own boss, really. So hopefully that was helpful to you and educational. And I know it's a lot of information, and hopefully you're sort of consuming the videos in bite sizes. But yeah, this are the questions that if you ask yourself, will be able to help you determine what kind of business you want to go into. Okay, I'll see you in the next video.